Welcome to the Kingdom Hairstylist Podcast. This is your host, Billie Jean. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Kingdom Hairstylist Podcast. This is your host. My name is Billie Jean, and I just want to say I hope that you all are having a wonderful week. I'm sorry that I'm putting this episode out so late. I was not feeling good on Monday, which is the day that I normally record. Just sinuses, just allergies and sinuses have been really trying to take me out. But, that usually happens when the weather changes. It was so nice on Monday, especially. But I just had a major headache and I just could not even breathe, and it was a mess. But I'm feeling a whole lot better today. And I'm just ready to get this episode done and ready to get to the weekend. I got a really busy weekend, but I'm excited about the weekend and just having some fun with friends and family and stuff like that. There's a lot of things going on in my life right now. There's a lot of things happening. My son is launching one of his businesses, and I have been very hands-on with that because, as a mother and as an entrepreneur, I just want to make sure that things get done the right way. And, to help him get started, he's 17 and, he just needs help. But he's very smart, very ambitious, and very excited about his journey to entrepreneurship. So I'm excited for him and, supportive of everything that he does. And he just makes me very proud. So it's worth, the sleepless nights, and it's worth all of the stuff that we have to do to get this thing rolling. And once we launch it, I'll definitely, be happy to talk more about it. He actually wants to come on and do an interview. So I'm going to bring him on, and that's going to be fun and exciting. And, a lot of times, we tell ourselves that we are not our kids' friends, but that's really one of my best friends. But don't tell him I said that, though, because he'll take it to his head. But that's one of my best friends. I love him. For a long time, it was just me and him. I had him when I was 19, so, the bond that we have is really a good bond. We kind of grew up together, and, he's my reason why for a lot of different things. So that's my dude right there, my little best friend. As people say, my broke best friend. That's my little broke best friend. But today's topic, I pretty much wanted to get on here because I have really been struggling with this question I have been asking, God, where are you? And that's an honest question, and it really is so honest because I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. Sometimes when you're so anxious about things that, God has promised you, and you're really waiting for the things to come to pass that that he said he's going to do, and they don't happen. It's almost like, God, where are you? Or when, we create the distance ourselves, which I tend to do that sometimes. And I do that by worrying, and being anxious and impatient, and just thinking that I can do things on my own. And that's one of my habits that I've been trying to break, is trying to take control of every situation, because I'm kind of like a control freak. I want things to go a certain way. And when they don't, I just get so frustrated. And I got to make a quick disclaimer. If y'all hear some noise in the background, I am recording this from my car. So I'm sorry. I apologize for any birds, because it's a couple of chickens running around here. If y'all hear them, I apologize for that. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But anyway, so I've been seeking God for a few things, and I just I'm in a process of, trying to purchase my first home, and that's been a process in itself. That's a whole nother episode. And then just like with new things that God is placing on me to do, sometimes I feel like I don't have the strength to do all of these things. And so that's why it's important to read the Bible, because, you know, think about half of the people that he chose in the Bible. A lot of them didn't feel like they had the strength either. A lot of them made a lot of excuses. For example, Moses didn't feel like, you know, God should use him because, for one, he was a murderer. For two, he felt like he stuttered and God wanted him to speak and save a whole, you know, nation. And he was like, I'm not equipped for that. And then, you know, you got people like Abraham. Abraham went and followed God, but he was like, okay, basically like, why you pick me? There's so many others, you know, in the Bible that you could ask. You could say Esther. She saved the nation. She really didn't question God. She pretty much followed God and did whatever God wanted her to do. But I'm sure if I was back there when God equipped her for saving a nation, I'm sure she was asking questions like, can I do this? I mean, a lot of us do it. And it's I think that's a human, natural thing. And that's why I love God so much, because, you know, by him putting Jesus here on earth, Jesus understood what it was like to also be human. Because even he questioned God, like when he was getting ready to be crucified, you know, like he asked God, please take this cup from me. Like, are you sure you really want me to do this? Okay, if you want me to do it, I'm going to do it. But I really don't want to do it. So we struggle with these things, and it's natural. But, you know, as I've been reading the word a lot, I've been understanding a lot more about who God is and his character and why he chooses us to do his kingdom work. I mean, I'm out here calling myself a kingdom hairstylist. So therefore, there are going to be challenges. There are going to be things that God's going to ask me to do. And I have to say yes. And I have to do it because, for one, I want to be obedient to whatever God is asking me to do. And for two, I know that he's my father and he'll never let me fail. Also, I know that God does everything for a reason. And he sees things in us that we can't see in ourselves. So therefore, I know that I can do anything that he tells me to do. But it's just that question. Where are you, God, when I'm starting to do these things and I don't feel like you're here anymore? Like, I haven't heard much from you lately. And I just feel kind of distant from you. And so again, back to what I have been studying, I'm learning that I create those distant relationships from God. I'm creating it because I am always anxious and worried. So the first thing I do when I feel anxious or worried is I get like headaches, I get stressed, and I start to think about what I can do instead of going to God first. Instead of stopping, breathing, and praying, I'll just start thinking about what I need to do right now. Well, if this ain't work, okay, let me do this. Okay, well, that didn't work. Okay, let me do this. And it's just a constant headache that God don't even want me to have. He want me to stop, breathe, and rest in him, because we have to seek him first. That's what his word always says. It says, seek me first, and everything else will be added unto you. But I don't think like that. So the first thing I think is, okay, well, you told me to do this. Okay, I'm going to do it. And okay, I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do it like that. That don't work. I'm going to do it like this. And that's not what he wants. He wants us to seek him for each and every step. Each and every step that we need to make. He'll give you a little bit at a time, and he never gives you the whole thing at one time. So it's difficult if you don't strengthen the relationship that you have with him. Like if you don't constantly read your word every day, if you don't constantly make time to just sit in his presence. You can't be so busy that you just don't even stop and pray. And that's what I have been doing lately. I've been so busy running around in a circle and running around doing all the things I think I should do, versus stopping to actually talk to God and say, hey, God, I know that you asked me to do this and you're telling me to do this, and I know that you gave me the strength to do these things, but how do you want me to get started? And you might not hear nothing the first day or two, But that doesn't mean, okay, now take it into your own hands and start doing a whole bunch of other things. That just means to keep seeking him on it until you hear from him. And in the meantime, keep doing everything that he told you to do. The last thing that he told you to do. So that has been one of my challenges. And so I found a lot of different scriptures that helped me to see that I wasn't the only one in the Bible that was having these kind of questions. And I share these things on a podcast because I know that they're helpful. I know that a lot of people always, say, well, how do you hear from God? Or like, how do you know what God wants you to do? Or, I have a vision, or I got a dream of some things God asked me to do, but I don't even know how to get started. So I know that that's why I go through a lot of things, because I'm supposed to be able to share them with you all when some things happen to me, because everything that we go through is for a reason. And so I feel much better today than I did Monday or last week, because I was really, really all over the place. And I had to ask God for forgiveness for that, because in certain verses, certain scriptures like James, let's just start with that one. James chapter 4:17, it says, remember, it is a sin to know what you ought to do and then not do it. So I had to ask God for forgiveness for worrying. I had to ask God for forgiveness for being anxious, and for knowing what to do and then not even doing it. Like just seeking him on the matters of his heart, on the matters of the things that he's telling me to do. So I had to ask for forgiveness. I had to repent for it first. That just simply means to tell God what you're doing, be honest with God, and then ask for forgiveness, and then also not to do it again. So I've been working very, very hard at not being anxious. I've been working very, very hard at not being worried. And what I've been doing is just standing on certain scriptures, just reading them over and over and over and over and over again, to kind of bury them in my heart, to remember when I feel anxious that God said, do not be anxious. To remember that when I feel worried, God says, do not worry about anything. So it takes a lot of work to be a servant of God, but I asked for this. I asked God a long time ago to use me, and I asked him I wanted to do his kingdom work a long time ago. So I got to remember that I asked for this stuff. So that means that I have to work hard at it. And God knew that I would sin. He knew that I would be worried. He knew that I would be anxious. But he also gave me the words in the Bible that helped me understand why he doesn't want me to be worried and why he doesn't want me to be anxious. So, therefore, we are equipped for everything that we go through. We are equipped. So, I want to read Psalm chapter 44, 23 through 26 real quick. And this comes from the person that wrote this psalm is David. And David was asking God, he was like in chapter 44 verse 23, he was saying, wake up, O Lord, why do you sleep? Get up, do not reject us forever. Why do you look the other way? Why do you ignore our suffering and oppression? We collapse in the dust, lying face down in the dirt. Rise up, help us, ransom us because of your unfailing love. And I love that. I love these scriptures because they show the vulnerability of David. He was so vulnerable, and he was so sincere and so honest. And that's one thing that I love about David. I love David. I've read all of everything about David because I love his character, because he was so brave, but just so honest and real, and like he loved God a whole lot, but then he also was a sinner. And it's like, it lets me know that it's okay. It's okay to be a lover of God. It's okay to sin and God will forgive you. But it's also okay to be vulnerable, to ask God, like, where are you? Like, wake up, Lord. Why are you sleeping? Like, help me. I need you right now. Come on. Come help me. And that's good. It's good that we have a God like that, that we can call on him whenever we need him, and that he will definitely come and rescue us whenever we need him to. And we can talk to him like that. it's okay to talk to him like that. Like, God, where are you? It's all right to say these things to him, because he